All right, so let's take a further look at this workspace of Adobe Flash. All right, so we're going to begin this little video. What I'm going to do in this video is actually go over creating a new file and look at the workspace of Adobe Flash, and then take a look at some of the most common panels that we'll be working with in Adobe Flash. So in order to create a new file, all that I want to do, and if you're familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator, Dreamweaver, all of these awesome Adobe programs, it's actually very similar. We can see that what we have done in those other programs helps us out quite a bit. And if not, no stress. Okay, so we come to File, New. There we have it. Now we're going to go to General. And again, most times you will just be creating an ActionScript 3.0 file, really, unless the project you're working on specifies something else. You'll work with ActionScript 3.0. So we click, we open this up. Now, let's take a look at this space. First of all, the workspace that I'm working in right now is Essentials. And we could change this. We could change it to the Designer workspace. Okay, and what this is doing is just organizing it a little bit differently. But we'll just stick with Essentials. There's a bunch of different other ones there. And you can actually create your own custom workspaces too. If there are certain screens that you like to use quite a bit, all you would do is, when you have them all open, hit New Workspace. Okay, so what we want to do is take a look at this workspace. So what we're looking at, this white area right here in Flash, is called our stage. So we have this sense, just this word stage, instead of an artboard. A stage is a place where something is going to happen. All right, now around it, this gray area, this area is referred to as our pasteboard. Okay, this gray area is referred to as our pasteboard. So whatever is on the stage, whatever is on the white area, that will be what will be in the output of our file. Okay, whereas whatever is over on the gray, this is behind the stage. So if we have a little graphic that we're going to introduce, okay, when it's off on the gray pasteboard, it's not going to be in our animation. All right, so let's take a look at some of these really popular panels. And probably, one of the main ones, a big one, is the properties. The properties panel, which is right here, and the toolbar. Now, if for ever some reason you don't see them, okay, if I come, up, let me turn that back on. If forever, for some reason, you do not see it, we can see in the toolbars. Here, I'm sorry, I keep doing the same thing again and again. If for ever some reason you don't see this, okay, all you would have to do is come back and turn it on in here. All right, so we could come to the properties panel. Okay, I could turn this off, I could turn it back on. All right, and here we have, this toolbar right here. Okay, so the properties panel is one of the most popular ones, and let's take a look at some of these different things here. We can see we have the size. Now we could edit this size. All right, and this is the document settings right here. So I could say, oh, I want this stage to be, 1,000 pixels by 8, no, better yet. Why don't we say we want it to be 800 pixels by 600 pixels? We could do that. We could also change the units that we're working with. We could turn it into inches. All right, there's a lot of different ways that we can go about approaching this. We could change the background color. We could add a background color if we'd like. Okay, that's going to kind of match what I have. Let's choose something else. Let's choose a color here. Decisions. There we go. Now, we have frame rate. This 24, that actually refers to the playback time of our animation. So we'll just keep it at 24. We'll just keep it at its default. We can even, match it to the default or to the printer over here. We're going to click OK. And there we have it. Now, something to note is with the properties panel, depending upon what we have selected, the properties panel will change. Okay, so right now I have clicked in my pasteboard, and this is exactly what it is. But let's say I come into my toolbar and I create a rectangle. Let's change the color of this rectangle. Did I just pick the same exact color? What's going on with me? Okay, let's say that we came in here and we give it a stroke. Okay, and there we have it. And actually, the one that I didn't have that one selected. So if I wanted to change this one, see how my properties panel changes? Okay, I would need to actually come in and I could do that right there. Okay, all right. So again, depending upon what we have selected, it will change. And we can see that this is selected because of this area that is all around this. All right, now another thing to note is that our toolbar even changes based on what we have selected. So we can see as we click on this, we click on this one, this lower area of our toolbar should change also. Okay, and again, as you work with different objects, for instance, if I was to come in and hit the type tool, we would see that, certain things may change. All right, I'm not going to do that right now, but just giving you an idea, an overview of what we have here. Now again, some of the main tools on our toolbar will work with the selection tool. Okay, the free transform tool is also a tool that we will be working with quite a bit. So we can see we get our free transform, and in our properties we can see how things are changing. We can make something bigger. Okay, we can do a lot of different stuff there. Hold on for 1 minute. Okay, now what else we want to take a look at here as we move around, and I separated this out from my stroke, are some other panels. So let's go through them. Some other very popular panels will be our color panel. Okay, we can even see as we come in, we can do gradients. Okay, now we have our swatches. Our swatches are the colors that we're working with in a file. We have our align panel, so we can actually take and align our different objects. We can align them to one another. Okay, let's say that we align to the left edge. Let's say that we come in now and we grab our align and we say, okay, there we have it, right? We can see that we can align them in all different kinds of ways. Okay, we click another one, we can get our info. Now, our info, we can see, this is telling us where we are on our stage, the X, the Y axis. We can click a color, we can get our info, we can see the relationship within the color. Okay, all right, so moving right along, we come on in, this is our free transform. We can look at rotating an object. Here's our little scrubby, so we could rotate it. Okay, we could come on in here, we could skew it. Okay, there's a lot of different things that we can do. Dun, 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 all different kinds of cool stuff here. All right, we come on down into here, we can look at, code snippets. We're not going to worry about this too much. We'll get into all of that. Some other really popular panels as we take a look around, and we're going to close all these guys. Actually, I just opened them. If you click that little up in here, collapse to icons, you can also click this right here and open them all up. All right, but we can collapse them to icons. Now, two other very popular panels that we'll be working with will be the timeline. Okay, now the timeline is on our timeline. It's here that we actually are going to create different layers. So I could come in right here. Okay, and we will here, what else we'll be doing here is creating layers and frames. All right, then we come to our motion editor. Our motion editor is directly related to our timeline, but it goes a little bit further. It's within our motion editor that we can actually really work with the tweening of these objects. We can actually really fine tune the amount of time between the frames, between the motion of the layers. And it's really our editor. It's really here, the motion editor is where we can fine tune our animation. All right, so there are an overview of the common panels and a little quick overview of the workspace of Flash. I'll leave you with that.